Beautiful moon, let's dance through the forest now. Beautiful moon, please show me the answer how. When I am sleeping, dreaming, you come to me. Up in the stars, so beautiful. My name is Luna, Luna-Belle. Where I am from, no one can tell. When I'm with you, I know all's well. Come take my hand, I'm Luna-Belle.
Who were the first people? And will Lily solve the sunburn issue? There's only one way to find out, because before you can say woodlands,
Okay, Mr. Hat, we're ready.
yup! Now, Nkwe, you mentioned paintings in the caves which are found around the woodlands.
That's right, Mr. Hat. They're everywhere. And man, are these paintings beautiful.
Well, they're very old and delicate and should never be touched. Let me tell you who painted them. They were painted by the first people. They're called the first people because they are the oldest known group of people on Earth. And the first people are called the Khoisan. They were the very first inhabitants of our country and have been living here for over 150,000 years.
Wow! How do we know that, Mr. Hat?
Well, archaeological evidence confirms it.
Okay, what? Sounds dangerous.
No, it's not dangerous, Nkwe. Archaeology is the study of the past, and archaeologists study the things that our ancestors left behind. And by doing so, they can build up a clearer picture of how the Khoisan lived in that time.
And how did they live, Mr. Hat?
Well, some foraged for food, others were pastoral, which meant that they kept flocks. Some later became hunter-gatherers, which meant that they would both hunt or fish or gather wild food.
What? Just like that? Sounds easy.
Yes, that does sound rather easy.
But it's not as easy as you think. Africa can be a harsh place to live in, and she will not give her bounty away easily. The Khoisan lived in the wild, and there were many dangers. They were under constant threat from predators, like lion. The Khoisan are by modern standards not very big people, and so taking on an eland or a kudu would not be a wise thing.
So how did they hunt then?
Good question, Luna-Belle. But there is a question which comes before the how did they hunt them? And what do you think that question is?
Yeah. Before you can see an animal, you have to find it. And to find it, you have to be able to track it. I'm good, eh? Hey.
Very good, Nkwe. Very good. Well thought out.
I'm lost. What's tracking?
You're a game ranger, Nkwe. Why don't you explain to Luna-Belle what tracking is?
Okay. Well, see, Luna-Belle, every animal has a unique footprint or spoor. I can spot the difference between a duiker and a springbok spoor a mile away. Or between different types of beetle. A dung beetle leaves a different spoor from other beetles, see? And there's more. You can sometimes see where an animal has passed by looking at the bush around you. A broken twig here, flattened grass there. And you can definitely tell when there've been elephant in the area.
How?
Because everything is flattened and the trees are feeling very sorry for themselves. An elephant can take a tree apart in minutes. Also, you can define what kind of animal it is by looking at its droppings.
Ew, sis, you do that?
Oh, yeah, it's actually only grass in any case. Nothing to put your nose up to. Part of the job. So you're telling me that the Khoisan were game rangers then, Mr. Hat? That's fantastic.
Not quite, Nkwe. It's the other way round. Game rangers learned their craft from what the Khoisan taught us. Because the Khoisan are the best trackers on the planet. No one can follow a spoor like the Khoisan. No one.
Wow!
But it's interesting that you should bring up beetles.
Why?
Well, you see, being smaller people in physical stature, the Khoisan devised a method of hunting, quite unique in the world. They made a mixture out of certain beetles. This they would carefully apply to arrows. Now, when I say arrows, I don't mean the huge arrows that a longbow takes, or modern bows. The Khoisan made very small bows and very small arrows.
Well, I'm sorry, but that doesn't sound too effective to me.
Well, you'd be amazed, Luna-Belle. You see, what the Khoisan would do is track the animal and then get very close to it. Very close.
Sure, let me tell you, as a game ranger, that's very hard to do. You make a single beep and the animal is gone. And then you got to start all over again. But what's the point of getting so close if the arrow is so small, Mr. Hat?
Good question, Inquire. See, the arrow itself was designed to only prick the surface of the animal's skin. Only enough to get the mixture on the arrow into the animal. Of course, the animal would start running. And this is where the Khoisan's legendary endurance would come in. They would run after the animal, sometimes for a whole day, until the mixture took effect. And then the animal would fall asleep.
Wow, that's impressive.
It is important to remember this, though. The hunter would then speak to the animal, thanking it for feeding him and his family. The Khoisan took from nature only what they needed, no more. This means that the Khoisan were in complete harmony with nature. They coexisted perfectly with all around them.
Oh, that's incredible, Mr. Hat. They sound like wonderful people.
Sound, they are. And speaking of sound, their language is also unique.
Really? I don't speak English.
Well, many today do speak English, but the Khoisan have a unique language which has many click sounds in it. What's important, though, is that Khoisan is a unique part of our national heritage, and there are not many people who still speak it.
But that's a disaster. We can't afford to lose the language.
Indeed, which is why there are several initiatives which have been undertaken by the government to preserve the Khoisan language and culture.
Oh, thank goodness for that.
Hey, we learnt about culture a little while back. But, please tell us more about the Khoisan culture, Mr. Hat. I'd love to write an article about it for the Woodlands Chronicle.
Oh, great idea, Gerald. Some pictures of the Khoisan cave paintings to go with the article would be fantastic.
A great idea. I'm sure that Father Olm and Ted would love to read it. Now, the Khoisan wrote many, many stories based on the sun, the moon, the stars, and the animals, which they would tell at night around the fire. These stories have survived through the ages and form a very important part of our heritage. They also made music on their bows, accompanying these with clapping and singing.
Mr. Hat, where are the Khoisan people now?
Well, land has been set aside for them in areas of the Northern Cape and the Kalahari, where they can better protect their society and culture.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yes, they're the oldest part of our nation. And they're the first people, after all.
Indeed. When South Africa's new coat of arms was designed, it was decided that our motto would be written in Khoisan.
Wow! What is it?
In Khoisan, it is Tae Ikaratai, which means from diversity, strength.
That makes sense. We're all from different cultures, but together we make up one country.
Correct, and beautifully so.
Hello, everyone. Greetings, Mr. Hat.
Hi, Dr. San.
Greetings, Dr. Sun. The kids and I were just discussing the first people, the Khoisan. Most interesting.
Indeed, and very important. But I'm afraid it's almost time for me to set, so you won't be needing Mr. Hat to protect yourself from my UV rays anymore. Father Orm has asked me to come and tell the kids that it's time for them to bring you back to him, Mr. Hat.
Oh, no!
Now, Father Olm is right. I've forgotten what time it is. And Father Olm and I have much still to discuss tonight. Better you take me back now. But be careful. I'm very old, you know.
Don't worry, Mr. Hat. We'll carry you like the priceless thing you are.
Yeah, and I'll keep an eye out for tigers.
Queer.
I see you've brought my old friend and teacher, Mr. Hat, back safe and sound. Did you learn much today?
More than you can ever imagine, Father Olm.
Yeah, I even learned who we game rangers learned our craft from.
You mean, then, the Khoisan?
Correct.
Thank you for everything you've taught us today, Mr. Hat. We've learned so much.
You're very welcome, all of you. You were very good students, but if you have any questions about anything again, you know where to find me.
I have one last question, Mr. Hat. Please.
Very well. Ask away.
Will the Springboks win the World Cup this year?
Inque!
Beautiful moon, let's dance through the forest now. Beautiful moon, please show me the answer how. When I am sleeping, dreaming, you come to me. A